Car insurance for women. Is it any different than car insurance for men? Well, we're going to dig into that and answer that question today. So, insurance companies look at a lot of different factors to determine rates. And one of those factors is gender. And so there is a difference in rates between males and females. However, there's not a difference in what kind of coverage you need or how you get insurance or how you get the best price for insurance. Men and women will go through a pretty much identical process to get the coverage they need. But insurance premiums will be different for women, and we're gonna jump in and see just how different they can be. Before we go any further, the best way to find rates that are the most cost effective for you is to go and compare rates. Now, if you go to FreeAdvice.com, you will see that they have an auto, home, health, they have an insurance comparison tool. And you're gonna wanna click on the auto, you're gonna put your zip code in, and then you're gonna get started finding quotes. And that's how you're gonna find quotes that are best for you as a woman, is through this tool. And then you can dig in and investigate the companies and find out which one's the best match for you. But that's where you should get started. FreeAdvice.com and into their auto insurance comparison tool. So here I have on the FreeAdvice.com site some average insurance premiums based on age and gender. And we're just looking at male and female here, and you can see just going down the list quickly that there's a big difference here between male and female rates for a 17-year-old. Younger drivers, they have the highest rates. Males statistically have a higher rate of crashes, filing a claim, and so they pay higher rates. Males do. At that age, the statistics are behind it, and so you're gonna find that pretty much across the board, except for in a few states where gender is not allowed to be a factor in car insurance. But most places it is, and so you see the averages reflect that. Then going to a 25-year-old male and female, females still pay less than males, but not by a very wide margin, just $16 less on average. Jumping up to 35-year-old female and male, and you see that they pay the exact same rates on average. At age 45, males once again pay slightly more, $5 more, and then going into the older range, 60-year-olds, in that comparison, the men are still paying a little bit more, $5 more per month. Not a huge difference once you get out of that young age bracket. Here we'll break it down, some of that same information, we'll break it down by company. So I'm gonna show you here, we have Geico over on the left. And you can see that in that, on the far left, that is the 18-year-old age range. And you can see that the males pay more than females. And then going into that 30 age range, this is not a trend across this whole chart, but for Geico, females pay just ever so slightly more in that age bracket before hitting that 45, 65 range where male and female pay the same rates. Then just to the right of Geico, we have Liberty Mutual. And young drivers, according to this graph, pay the same rates with Liberty Mutual. You would, if you are a young woman driver and you want to get the financial reward for being in that safer classification, you might want to look for a company that tends to offer lower rates to teen female drivers. Then moving on into the 30 year-old age range, you can see that back to that kind of stereotypical trend that the men pay a little bit more for all the age ranges there with Liberty Mutual. Right here in the middle, we have nationwide, and across the board, men pay a little bit more. And then State Farm, we have just to the right of middle. And for the younger age groups, up until the 30 age groups, you'll see that the men pay more. And then in the older age groups, the premiums are exactly the same on average between male and female drivers. And then on the far right, we have travelers, and across the board, men pay on average more than women for coverage. An interesting study that pertains to women on the road was done by the Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, and it found that women are more likely than men to experience severe or fatal injuries from car accidents. You can see that right there in that first paragraph. And so that's something as a woman looking for car insurance that you may want to consider. Personal injury protection or med pay may be available where you live. And in some states, you'll be required to carry that, but in other states, you may not need to, but you may have the option to. And so considering that you have a higher risk of injury, you may want to include that coverage for your injuries in case you were to be injured in an accident. That is something to consider. And to find out how your rates for that kind of coverage would compare, you'll want to head over to FreeAdvice.com, enter your zip code into their free comparison tool, and then see how much more it will cost to add insurance for injuries to your policy, and see how your overall premiums would vary between different insurers. As you could see by that graph we looked at before, some insurance companies have far lower rates for women and some have the same rates for men and women. And you want to find the rates that are unique to you. So that's why you need to do a quote comparison for yourself. You can't depend on national averages for down to the dollar quotes for yourself. It's somewhere to get started, somewhere to give you an idea. That's all it is. I have open here an Insurance Information Institute article on what goes into insurance premiums. And you can see here that your gender does often play into your premiums. Why? Well, statistically, women tend to be in fewer accidents and have fewer driver under the influence accidents and have less serious accidents than men. Now, as we just talked about, when a woman is in an accident, oftentimes their injuries are more severe, but there is a lower likelihood that a woman driver will be in an accident. But since women are less often in accidents, they often pay lower rates than their male counterparts. And that is what we found when looking at that chart comparing rates. So to find out where you fall in the premiums from low to high, the best thing that you can do is head over to FreeAdvice.com, enter your zip code into their free comparison tool, and see how much you could save on the coverage you need while you're out driving.